So I think I'm live, and I'm not sure. So you'll have to forgive me. This is going to be a super scrappy live stream, but um, yeah, I'm here on the balcony. That's why I've got some weird background for you guys. But essentially, this is going to be a really quick live stream, just a jam. I want to show you a little bit about the remote gap year program that I'm creating and building. And so I thought it'd be really cool to just kind of show you some of that. I'm going to, first of all, finish off the kind of structure around the program because it's an 8 week program. So I've got to, I think, week 6 in the structure, what that looks like. So that might be a little bit boring, but feel free to ask me any questions about it. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I'm creating as well, because I think um, this is a really important moment for students and to help people who are young professionals and they're really kind of struggling to get their feet after they have graduated, or they're trying to figure out what the hell to do next because there is a lot of ambiguity in the world. They don't know whether to defer, they don't know whether to uh, go to university and start their higher education journey. And for me, it's kind of I feel like it is important to give people an alternative, but not just an alternative that is kind of lackluster way of going through the next year if they are going to defer. And so that's what remote gap year is all about. It's basically a program that will build people's skills. It will connect people with professionals and mentors and people who really can infuse some knowledge and support and energy to the students. And it's about building self-sufficiency and self-autonomy as well. So it's not just come along to this program, you're going to learn some stuff around how to be more human or entrepreneurial skills, etc. This is about creating your own way, your own path, and your own kind of program almost for the next couple of months. And so that's what this is all about. So yeah, I just wanted to jam. I'm trying out this live stream situation, so forgive me if it doesn't quite go according to plan. But hopefully it does. And yeah, I think I've got the chat is on side, so we can jam and see what happens with that. So I'm going to switch to my desktop, and we're going to get into it. So first of all, I guess a little bit of background on this. So I have done some research around students who have been affected by COVID-19, and you know, students have had their internships cancelled. They've had their graduate positions cancelled. They've had job offers cancelled. Everything is being cancelled. Or you might be one of the lucky ones, and you've actually managed to retain your internship in a virtual sense. And so, I just did some research over the last couple of months around how many people have been affected by this, just to give you a feel for what we're up against or what's going on. Uh, Around the kind of start of May, I saw that there were a bunch of people and students who have highlighted on their LinkedIn profile that they've been affected by COVID-19. They've had their offer rescinded because of that. So just today I kind of started looking what's going on with that. I saw that there's been like a 73% increase in people highlighting that they have had their offer rescinded on LinkedIn in their profile. And so, we've got to around, I think there's around, 1,500 people now who have highlighted that their offer has been rescinded. And for me, that's a drop in the ocean. There are a lot of people who don't use LinkedIn. There are a lot of people who don't update their profiles on LinkedIn nearly as much as me. So, you know, I think when I've gone and spoken to some of the students as well and the young professionals, I get a sense for how much of a struggle it is at the moment to try and figure out what the alternative is, what to do next. So that's just a bit of background on the program. Um, and uh, so remote gap year kind of was my idea um, around making sure that people can have an alternative path that they, build some self-sufficiency. What I found is, running Node Unlock, and I go into various organizations and I share the kind of skills and concepts around how you can approach the future of work. I see that there's a lack of understanding to transition from higher education once you've graduated or even having an internship during your your higher ed. I've seen as a lack of understanding around how to kind of build self-sufficiency and whether that's the right path. There's a question and a conversation to be had around, is this the right path anymore for young humans? And there are alternatives. There are ways to create side projects and side gigs that you fulfill that kind of desire and curiosity around something that you're looking to create. There are other paths around, instead of going to university, you start a business and you really start building the skills that lots of people really desire. One thing that I've observed actually is we very often want to go to university or go to higher ed and have that experience learning, meeting people, expanding our horizons, expanding our connections and our network. However, what we see is, there's a period of accumulation when you're in your 20s, when you're in your 30s, and in these, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you see people who have gone through that process. They've then gone to a corporate career, or they've gone into a profession of their choice, and then they desire something completely different. They start freelancing, and they realize that uh, actually this gives them a sensational amount of freedom, and it's just a breath of fresh air to them. So I've been really toying with this whole approach of whether young professionals or young humans uh, realize that this path that they're taking potentially is, um, it looks great on paper, but actually there are many other alternatives that are perfectly okay to go for. And so that's kind of what I was thinking about when I was going through this process of, um, should I create a program for students? I feel that packaging up, you know, uh, my approaches and other people's, approaches to life as well as entrepreneurship, and sharing it with them and showing them, for a short duration of time, this is an alternative and this is how you can go about it. And so that's what Remote Gap Year is kind of about. I've rambled on there a lot, so let me just go and check the chat to see if anyone's on. Nope, cool. Um, so yeah, what I'm doing here is this is the whole plan. It's very messy currently, but don't worry about that. I'm just kind of focusing on the next 3 points, which is completing the structure, creating some images and the visuals, then creating the copy and websites. Uh, yeah, copy and websites. So I think what I'm going to do is continue on with that. So first of all, the learning objectives and the kind of structure of each can be seen here. And that's per week. This is going to be an 8-week program, uh, and so I'm trying to figure out, what's next. This part is week 7 accelerate. So after week 6, you know, perhaps I'll just run through this really quickly so you can get an understanding of what we're going through, and that will also allow me to um, bring clarity to the flow of this particular structure myself. Um, so first of all, you have Foundation Week, which is, everyone comes into the experience and starts to um, connect with others, connect with professionals who I'm looking to bring into the program, and then start to build an understanding of what they're aspiring to do for this next period of time. So this is going to be 8 weeks of intensive kind of creation, building, and connecting and collaborating, and then that springboards people into the next part of the year and for the rest of the year, so that they gain momentum and build momentum through that process. So by the end of it, they have done a year of creating and building for themselves, and collaborating with other people, and then they can add that to their portfolio, their LinkedIn profile, their CV, and hopefully they have created an income stream that is, an asset to them, and they know how to create these digital products, they know how to create these digital services. And so the first week is, build an understanding of the foundations of entrepreneurship and how you create a service that solves a problem. Um, so what I want to do there is go through the kind of foundations of entrepreneurship. There is no playbook for entrepreneurship. I want to highlight that as well. So there is no playbook for how you build a company, how you are successful, um, etc., etc. There are various different ways to do it, but there is no one, playbook of go and do this, and you're going to reap the rewards and also help others. So that's an important message. Learning how to identify problems. So that's one. Learn how to build in public and share your process. And I think that that's an important one. So I really want to show people that building in public can be a really rewarding process. It can be quite scary actually initially, because you're kind of thinking, shit, what do people think of me, or are people going to like my um, creations? Should I share this because it makes me look like an amateur? Uh, and what I've found is you don't need to be concerned about that. Building in public is beautiful. You create awareness, you create an audience, you start to build context, get instant feedback for your creations. Um, and not only that, it gives you a body of work and reference information and materials to then say, built all of this. This is the process I've taken. This is the thought processes. These are the things that I've done, and people get to see the whole experience. So I'm not seeing people build in public enough, and that's something I want to share with the students coming along to this program. And I'm building self accountability and self awareness, and so my single biggest struggle when I transitioned from corporate life to startup life and creating my own company was uh, figuring out how the hell to be accountable, be self accountable, and maintain my mindset, my balance, my progress and momentum. That's really, really difficult. But what I've seen is this is the fundamental thing that we should learn, because once we can understand how to do this, uh, it's universal. So if you can really be in charge of your mind and be in charge of your accountability for getting stuff done, that can be applied to entrepreneurship. It can be applied to learning yourself. It can be applied to just being, a human. But then it can also be applied to a professional career. So that's where I want to show people some concepts and methods around how to build self-awareness and self-accountability. So we've got the milestones, we've got the structure, we've got the content, etc. So that is week one. Week two is exploration. So this is where people will explore some potential ideas and then identify some solutions for those ideas. This is really about going through the validation process when you are creating. and it's going to be intense. It's going to be this like just like a startup is, right? So I don't know how many of you have been involved in startups or seen how startups work, but no one knows what they're doing. No one knows what they're doing, and it's a rush. I think it's Reid Hoffman that says, starting a company or building a startup is like throwing yourself off a cliff and building the plane on the way down, and you hope that you have built the plane enough to fly by the time you get very near to the bottom or before. And so this is about going through an iterative process and thinking about how you can approach that, making sure that you go through it with an understanding of who you're looking to help and build context around that. So that includes ideation techniques, how to validate your idea, how to answer questions, how to build your network, how to create a small digital product from your initial idea, and building resilience. So let's take a look at that and kind of break that down a little. Ideation techniques are really important. So um, everyone can come up with ideas. That's innate in who we are as humans. But then structuring the process can really be important. And so giving people the techniques and approaches to that is something that I will be going through and will be going through. How to validate your idea. Again, that one is really important because lots of people get, really engrossed in their own idea, and then they go and start creating it, and they haven't validated whether there's any demand, if it's a business, or if they should even be doing it because they actually resonate with the idea. And so that's really important as well. How to ask better questions. This is, people probably think, why the hell should I understand how to formulate and ask better questions? But if anything that I've seen during my, time creating Node Unlock is that questions are the barrier or entry point to building an understanding and building momentum and progress. And that is something that I really want to emphasize to people, how to navigate formulating a really, really great question and then understanding what that means, actively listening to what people say, how they respond, looking at their body language, um, is really important. I think, if anything, that's a real like superhuman skill. Once you can formulate really great questions, you can navigate any situation, any conversation, and have better conversations. So asking better questions is really important. How to build your network. So this program is about connecting and collaborating. And so, when you're a student, you don't necessarily always have a big network to lean on or interact with. And so I want to share approaches that are much more human approaches to building a network. I hate networking and I hate the word connecting because um, it doesn't, in essence, um, it doesn't speak to what it's all about. You are building relationships with people, with humans. And so when I see people coming from the viewpoint of I'm going to build a network, I'm going to build connections, and I'm going to go and connect with people, uh, it's always instantly something. Their approach is what's in it for me. And so instead, it's really important to start going into these situations and thinking about how you can navigate the conversation in a way of giving value and understanding. Um, you're there to help each other. You're there to listen, to understand, and to then build relationship with someone instead of it being a kind of a one-way street. So again, building a network is really important. And I didn't have a network when I first started Node Luck, and I'm still building it. Everyone's still building their network. it's really important to build those really uh, long-term relationships, even if you don't see instant value in an interaction. There is always something you can get out of an interaction. So for me, that's a really important realization for myself throughout this process. I want to share that with them. And then how to create a small digital product from your initial idea. So this is where I want to create momentum, instant momentum. And I've been speaking to a few people, and very often I ask, why can't you do it quicker? Not in the sense of doing it wrong or something, but as soon as the quicker you can get something out there and test it out, the better. And so I not only want to show people the process of creating a larger kind of product and service, I also want to show them that you can create a very small digital product. It could be digital wallpapers, right? Could be question decks like I've created. It could be frameworks that you feel are really interesting and helpful. It could be a service where you're helping people set up something. All of that is just creating a service. Not you don't necessarily have to have it built, but being able to then share that and see if there is interest is really important for validating your idea as well, and also gaining momentum yourself. It almost, once you start to earn money on the internet, it gives you this almost permission to keep going. Really love Jack Butcher's perspective on making $1 on the internet. That is not an insurmountable amount, right? We're only speaking about $1. And so once you get people to buy your product, it really does give you permission. And I've felt this myself and I've seen this myself. So, I'm still going through this early journey of creating digital products, but it's something I want to share with people how you go about that, how you get, a small store set up. Perhaps you're using Gumroad, perhaps you're using Stripe, perhaps you're using Shopify, all of that, and get set to make a small amount to see what happens. And then building resilience, so handling fear, rejection, and mistakes. I felt that this particular lesson is really important because for me, I've not always been as extroverted or confident in my approach to speaking with new people, or I've had various different fears that I feel have held me back. And so I feel that at this point in time, the students will be perhaps thinking about, okay, well, shit, I've got all of this to do. I have to speak to new people, I have to reach out to them, and what are they going to be thinking about me, or is this even for me? So I want to build their resilience through understanding, their fears and what might be holding them back, not just in this program, but this is a general, you're a human being, so what's going on in your mind and what can we do about it? So that's building resilience. And then you have your milestones, your structure, and your content. And let's see if there's anything on the chat. No. Okay, cool. But the live stream is still working well, so that is a great success because it never usually works. So I'm really happy about that. That's super cool. So the next part is synthesis. So this is week 3. And here, I want people to synthesize their findings and create an execution framework to make it real. So this is the kind of consolidation process and synthesis process once you've gone out there and tried to validate your idea. So they want to distill the feedback and research how to create an execution framework, how to explain the goals of your solution, and how to plan, focus, and boost your productivity. And so the kind of format here, as you might have gathered so far, is first of all, we're going through the kind of concepts that are important for building a business and almost creating an entrepreneurial journey. But then also there are lots of parts I'm infusing into this program where it's about mindset It's about the soft skills that are. I hate soft skills, so it's more human skills, right? Soft skills are the hardest skills to nail. Um, one really great example that I loved from Beth Collier, um, shout out to you, Beth, by the way, is you know the hard skill that she learned was how to use a fax machine, right? So that was seemingly a hard skill that was going to last you for a while. But look where we are. That's not that's not around anymore. So uh, using a fax machine is not something that you would aspire to have a skill behind. But now, if you were to learn how to communicate, or if you were to learn to, build empathy for a person, or create stories that are compelling, all of these skills, I'm supposed to soft skills, are universally applicable and can be universally applicable. For eons, we've had storytelling for how long have we had that? So at the end of the day, all of this program is a combination of practical skills around how to approach entrepreneurship, but then also how to approach the human skills that are really important. So that's synthesis. So we're going to go through that. Week 4 is execute. So this is a kind of a big week because you're going to execute on your plan and build interest in your solution through an MVP, which is a minimal viable product. Um, so here is really a doing week of execution. And executing is usually the hardest part of a project because, it's not just woolly ideas and not just thoughts and feelings and emotions that are feeding into it. You are trying to figure out how this thing works, how this comes together. Can this even work? What's going to happen with it? And so executing, very often you don't know what's going to happen in a situation, as in creating a product or service or going through a project until you get started, until you get into it. And so execution is a really big part of that. And also, we can all have ideas, but if you don't execute on them, did they even happen? No. So it's an important one. How to build interest for potential customers. So again, where are your customers? Where are the people who are the buyers? Um, one perspective with my friend Carl, uh, he really nicely summed up, who are the problem holders? You want to go and find the problem holders, the people who have the problem that you are looking to solve, and then go and work with them to kind of collaboratively create your product or solution. And so that's really, really important. How to have better conversations. So, I mentioned the reason for that. So, actually listening and building that kind of approach to building a connection is important as well. Week 5 is refine. So, begin testing your solution, begin refining it, and understanding based on the feedback received, what does this look like? That's what you're going to go through there. And then you're going to go through testing your solution, how to ask for and implement feedback. And I think this is an important point. Not all feedback is great. I've had many situations where I've had people say that my, experiences that I've created didn't quite hit the mark, or this didn't go well, etc. And very often, so there are two dynamics. There are the dynamic of the you know person asking for the feedback. How do you navigate that situation? What do you do? What do you ask? How do you ask it? Who do you ask? And then there is the person, people giving the feedback. And it's very important to recognize that not everyone has the skills or knowledge to give actionable, tangible feedback. So that's a really important realization because when you're going out there and trying to get feedback, you can go down various different kind of pathways, uh, or just not be relevant at all. So getting feedback is really important because it allows you to also create something that is useful. And how to navigate your life. Oh yeah, how to navigate like your life depends on it. Right? So I recently created an article around how I approach negotiations, and um, what I've realized lately is that everything is a negotiation. It could be speaking with your friends, it could be speaking with your family, it could be speaking to your manager or boss, or just in general. Speaking to people includes, well, you're always selling, and it also includes negotiating with everything. So you're trying to get to some kind of consensus, etc., or not. So negotiation skills are really important, and this is about accumulating um, rejections. It's about accumulating understanding, and then understanding how to navigate different situations and scenarios so that you can, negotiate the best deals, the sales, or also to create movements, etc. So that's really important too. Um, Week six, connect. So this is where you continue iterating and building your network. So you're looking to connect with more potential customers. You're looking to optimize, iterate more, and also optimize your iterations. So by now you should have a much better kind of process around how to do that. And then the art of storytelling. So uh, when you're looking to build a business and you're looking to build momentum, the way that you do that is through telling stories. And so I'm doing it right here, actually. We're going through what this program looks like, and I'm telling a story about it. And so the concepts of how you approach storytelling, what kind of different methods of storytelling can be useful in different contexts. Um, that's all relevant to being an entrepreneur, to creating your own path. And then how to build your personal brand and reputation. So, how do you want people to perceive you? What do you want them to, resonate with? How do you want to approach, creating a personal brand? Or how do you even do that? So those are some things that we'll be going through there. So we've got to week 7 finally. So this is exciting. So we're at the late stages of the program. By now, what we have is a very good understanding of the problem that you're solving, the creation of your product and service or service, and accumulated a level of skill that you can approach, your entrepreneurial journey. And so, the next 2 weeks are about propelling people into the next part of the year, because like I said, this runs for um, 8 weeks of your overall gap year. And then for the rest of the time, it's about having the community still to lean on and interact with and share different ideas, etc. But this is where you're on your own almost, and you're building your own product, your own service, your own business. And so we're looking to make sure that you get the best springboard into doing that. So that's what Accelerate is all about. So the learning objective here is to establish um, what is required for um, maintaining, maintaining, oops, your momentum throughout the year, and for looking to expand your opportunities. So here we'll be going through um, So we'll be going through what here? So we've already gone through how to connect with potential customers, optimize, iterate, in the acceleration process. So I'm going to go up here and I have a whole load of stuff that I kind of created for. Um, this is not all of what we're going to go through, but basically I've got through several different iterations of this in my, as you can see in my notes. And so I'm kind of pulling from what I thought and think may work and is useful. Uh, so, for instance, structured learning and how to and learn again, learn and learn and learn again is really important. So I think, these are building some foundational skills around that. So we'll put that there. Let's have a check of the live stream. Woo! What's this? About to go live. Is this? Oh, Jacob! Hey! Why is all of this here? I don't know why it's showing like this. But let me just check. When was this? 16:20, 4 minutes ago. Okay, sorry, Jacob. But hello. Hello. I've got another here. Right, so is this course designed with only students in mind? I'm taking 6 months off away from corporate life in November, hopefully forever. And this looks like a perfect timing. Yes, okay. So, in answer to your question, Jacob, no. Um, what I've thought about is this is specifically directed to students, graduates, and also, people who are young professionals like yourself who are looking to do something with the next kind of period of time, right? So I'm aware that, for instance, people have lost their jobs or they have the great fortune of taking some time off, having a sabbatical or stepping away from what they're doing currently full time. Um, it will be directed to students, but will be very relevant for young professionals as well. So I will certainly open it up to young professionals. Um, the whole process is going to be the same. The overall structure approach to creating something for yourself and navigating that journey is exactly the same. So uh, it will be, directed to students, but also young professionals can join as well. Sorry about the delay and just rambling on. I'm not sure why this is going like this bananas, but hey, let me know if you got that. Just drop a comment. Let me know if you got that. I will come back to you in a moment. So the next part. So the next part is structured. So how to approach structured learning. And you might be thinking, what the hell is structured learning? So, structured learning, the way that I think about this is, for me, I want to, first of all, follow my curiosity. I want to understand, everything in the world. Not everything in the world, but there are a lot of things I'm curious about and I want to explore. So I want to create, I'm going to show you actually here. Let's see if I can go to my learning page. So I've structured my kind of approach to my curiosity by having a Notion page, and it doesn't need to be Notion. It can be whatever you feel comfortable with. But essentially, I have things to uh, learn. That's not in here. Hold on a second. Let's see. Here we go. Um, things to learn, people to learn from. And it's a page that is dedicated to following my curiosity. So, for instance, if I was looking to learn how to live stream, I spent hours. I'm not kidding. I spent hours uh, mucking around with, live streaming and OBS and all of the tools and stuff like this. Currently, I have a laptop here and I'm using the iPhone as my webcam. That's great. So I learned how to do that. But I've captured all of that in this process, which can be then referred to, as I've done, just today, for instance, to get this going again. I can refer to all of this accumulated information and synthesis. So what I do there is if I'm curious about something, I will go in and create a new page. And I will add it to this particular flow. And so, that is structuring your curiosity. And not just that, you also want to have some kind of understanding around, what are the core things that you want to explore. Not just, going with the curiosity, but are there certain skills or certain things that you would like to know about that you're looking to really kind of dive into? Um, Great person to look at this is my amigo Dylan, because he's created his basically he left his job, has decided to take some time to explore various different topics of interest at a kind of level that is really, really deep. So how he's done that, I would love him to, come into to this chat, but then also love him to be part of the program as a mentor. He has structured his, curiosity around the different concepts or things, in the sense that he goes off and researches it. He reads different resources. He reads books. He goes and looks for the people that are really interesting around the industry or concept or topic, and then dives deep into what they're doing or who they're following or who they're surrounding themselves by. And then he starts to synthesize that kind of knowledge, and he creates. Let's see if we can go to the road less traveled. Maybe it's travel.net. Uh, let's see. Uh, who are we? Who we are? Nope, that's not it. Um, okay, can't find it. But um, basically he starts synthesizing it and creates blogs, he creates videos, and he creates some output from his journey. And so, you know, when you're structuring your learning, you want to create some kind of loose structure. Perhaps, if you're interested, you can have a tick structure, but it really depends on the context of what you're looking to achieve. But you structure it in a way that there is inputs and there are outputs, and from that you start to build, body of knowledge that you can refer to again, you can share it with others, and also it really is important for lifelong learning. And so many people, and potentially students as well, believe that once you are done with higher ed and you've graduated, that's it, peace, done. Not the case. Actually, what happens is your journey of learning really starts there. And so it's really important to just continue learning. And so having some kind of structure around that is really, really helpful. So how to approach structured learning, how to learn, learn, and learn again. It's a bit of a mouthful. So this is something that we don't talk about enough, which is we're all about learning, we're all about accumulating, about feeding into one another and feeding into our minds. But then holding on to all of that information, the biases that you create and hold from childhood, from now, from the people that you surround yourself by, the cultural constructs and approaches to life, all of that is necessary to almost take it, look at it, and go, okay, that's interesting. Is this useful? Uh, how do I unlearn that? Then approach it from a beginner's mindset and understand what that looks like, and look at it from a fresh angle as well. So, learning to unlearn and then relearn is really important. that's a concept that I really have found important for myself. I would love to share with people how to approach this. Um, and then the importance of mental models. So, this part is really important around how you start to see the world, interact with yourself, and interact with people. Having certain mental models, which are the kind of ability to say, okay, I've seen this situation before, or maybe I haven't. How do I approach deconstructing it, or how do I approach understanding that, and how do I understand myself within that? And so mental models are something of a concept that is, um, they're almost like shortcuts to life, I would say. And so that's really important to learn how to use that. So the importance of mental models. So the milestone here will be to create a structured learning uh, uh, program for yourself, which maps out week by week or specific topics and themes you would like to explore for the rest of the year. Right. So this is where you want to be creating some kind of tangible output from this. So you want to be creating a learning program for yourself. Basically, it's a curriculum. I don't really like curriculum because it kind of seems very academic. This is it's not just the academic approach to learning. It's about the learning, uh, and following your curiosity and lives. You know, people resonate with you creating your own curriculum. So there we go. Milestone. Sweet. And I think that will be fine. And then just, continuing on with your business endeavors. The structure will be very much the same. Oops. So here we'll have 2 meetings during that week. Let me go back to chat and see if anyone has spoken. Go. Yep, got that. Okay, great. Sweet. So, I don't know what in the world is going on here. Let's see if uh, if I change this. Block user. No. Let's see. Is it that one? Not sure. Oh well. We'll just continue with the restream stuff. Sweet. So, 2 meetings during the week. Some kind of community session, I think, will be valuable. Um, Might be nice to have another networking session, and then office hours. Content required for this will be structured learning template, um, learn, unlearn, oops, and learn again content, and mental model content. Cool. So that's week 7. Accelerate. Now, week 8 is going to be the last week, and so I feel that it's important to pause and take some time to reflect on the overall program and the experience. Not only that, I think it's important to, have a look at what has been working, what hasn't been working for yourself, and then figure out, how to optimize that. Um, and then also showcasing what we've really accomplished in 8 weeks. And I hope that it will be a ton of learning, a ton of connecting, and a ton of collaborating and creating connections and relationships rather. that last way beyond this program. I think that uh, if we're going to accomplish that, then I'll be a very happy guy. So yeah, that's what we're going to do here. So what did I say there? You know when you get into the like, oh yeah, that's really good. Oh shit, what did you say? So learning objective here is to pause, reflect, and establish what hasn't, and could work going forward for you. Um, and then building on the context around uh, creating a plan, structure, and structure to support yourself and each other going forward. And big reveal. What have you accomplished during these 8 weeks? Cool. So the first thing is going to be, we'll be learning about introspection. So that is uh, learning uh, about introspection, looking within. So the second thing will be, I guess, evaluating performance, evaluating and reviewing uh, your achievements. Um, Actually, that's a really important point. So much of what I do is I do it, and then I don't um, realize, acknowledge just how much stuff I've done. And so that is one core concept that is really important to keep boosting your momentum and your mindset around uh, holding yourself accountable and recognizing what you have achieved. Because we kind of underestimate what we can do. I think there's a quote around, you underestimate what you can do in a year and overestimate what you can do in 10. Maybe it's the opposite way around. But you know, making sure that we have some kind of form and structure around um, understanding what we've achieved ourselves, being able to actively look at that consistently, really is a great foundation for building resilience, building context around what you've accomplished, and then sharing that as well, right? Being able to share that with people, and how many times do people say, "Oh, so what have you been up to?" And you're like, "Well, done this, done that," or maybe not so much. But everyone's been up to a lot, so that's really important to recognize. So, evaluating and reviewing your achievements and presenting your presenting the output of your uh, 8-week program. Cool. Oops. Uh, Sweet. Milestone for this will be um, milestone for this. So first of all, create a 5-minute presentation showcasing what you have learned, what you have achieved, and what you plan to do going forward. Yeah, and Yeah, that'll do. I think structure. So again, I think there'll be two meetings during that week and community session. So the community session will be da, 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 da. So program. What am I going to call that? Celebration. It's kind of like a graduation program celebration. Oh, celebration. Um, and office hours. Yeah, cool. So there'll be a community presentation session, program celebration, and two meetings during the week. Sweet. Content required. So there will be introspection framework. Uh, there will be a framework template. There will be evaluating and reviewing your achievements. So reflection and achievement guide and uh, presenting the output. So, well, you can create your own presentations, and perhaps it would be nice to have some sort of guest judge. So that's another thing. Uh, each week there will be a guest speaker. I'm aiming to have a guest speaker, so that's something. I am aiming to bring in professionals and people who um, I feel and others feel would be really inspirational to share how they've gone about perhaps becoming who they are, what they've had to do in order to do that, and to bring context around the concepts that we are learning and sharing and growing together. So that's something I really want to bring in, and that's uh, so, first of all, if you know anyone who you believe would be phenomenal within this program, who would love to, share the experience with the students and be a mentor of some sort, or just a speaker that comes in, I say just a speaker who comes in and helps share some light. Please let me know. That would be beautiful. Right, so we have our structure. So that took a whole lot longer than I thought, but that's the nature of the beast. Let's go back to chat. Received 100 messages today. It's because it's going wild. I don't know why. Um, okay, so I'm gonna refresh this. Let's see. This might go horribly wrong. Reload. Looks like the stream is working nicely. I'm super happy with that. That's so cool. Okay, we're back to not having constant messages. That seems cool. All connected, and we're good. Um, Alrighty. So the next part is um, there is something. So the concepts that I want to introduce are you will have number. Um, so there will be a certificate of completion. Um, After the program finishes, it's not going to be, oh, that's it, done and dusted, goodbye. Uh, because I don't know if you ever feel this way, but when you're involved in a community or you're involved in something like a project or you're on holiday with friends or family, and then the experience ends, and you're kind of left bereft almost with this feeling of loss or emptiness. So that's something that, in the design of this experience and the design of this program, I want people to feel, connected throughout and beyond. And so the community will be, a living, breathing community that continues on, and we'll have interactions, we'll have office hours, throughout the year to make sure that people, uh, you know, supported. They can share the wins, can share the losses, and ask any questions that they might have and feel that they have the momentum that is required, and also the accountability. It's a really important thing. Um, so yeah, so at the end there will be a certificate of actually I think I put this no. So you've got uh, you'll get a certificate of completion. You will have a community, a global community to continue uh, supporting and creating and maintaining momentum. You will have uh, access to all of the content and resources um, from the program, and you'll have access to uh, monthly, let's say bi-weekly or monthly office hours. I'll decide uh, office hours throughout the year. Oops. Sweet. And of course, you'll have each other. I'll put that there. Each other. Uh, each other? Each other. Okay. Sweet. Let's check the chat. Nothing going on. Cool. Sweet. So that is the structure. I was going to show you this at the start, but I didn't. So, right, we've done that. Finish the program structure. Awesome. Next is create the marketing copy. And then third is design the visual assets. And so I am going to take a quick couple minute break, and I will be back with you in a second. So I will leave you with BRB. Okay, wonderful people. I just had a little break there, which was beautiful. We're going to get kicked into this again, and if you've got any questions, just give me a shout. I will come back to you as I go through this. Um, so, what we're doing is going through the kind of process of building remote gap year, the program, which is the program for students. Basically, it's an entrepreneurial program um, to build a online business, but then also to build, kind of the human skills that are going to be required uh, going forward. So it's an alternative path for people who are deferring, people who are, who have had their internships rescinded or cancelled. You know, also for professionals who perhaps young professionals who are looking to take some time out of their career and they're looking for something to support them or their community to support them going forward as well. So that is this. This stream is running about 5 to 20 seconds in delay, so just to let you know, it takes a little while to get back to people. And I think that's about it. So yeah. So the parts that we were going through, first of all, we went through finishing the program structure. We've done that. The next part is creating the marketing copy and then designing the visual assets. And you can see I've kind of started creating a little visual framework for the visual assets. Visual. Excuse me. So, uh, marketing copy. Now, marketing copy is really important because basically, what copy is just the words and how you explain to people what your product does, who it's for, why they should buy it, or why they should join, why they should interact with it. And I've got to say that I am not great at copy. It's something I'm still exploring and I'm still learning how to do. But it's a real super skill, to be able to create great copy, to be able to tell stories through copy, and have that copy convert into users or people who are buying your product is a real super. So that's something that I really enjoy. Not that I really enjoy. I am actively working on. Um, so I did start a little bit here, and I think that in this kind of process of creating your copy, first of all, it's important to make sure that it's very clear and concise. People's attention spans are very short. They're bombarded with information, and it's just a situation where if it doesn't speak to you instantly, then people are not going to get on board. So, there's a lot around the kind of human psychology that you can go through and try to understand. And so that's what I just, as a high level kind of framework, I'm creating here, where I am creating copy that speaks to certain psychological mindsets. And you want to build emotion within copy and the people who you're speaking to. So uh, that's why I'm thinking about, first of all, there is the kind of bias around the psychology of loss aversion. So we as humans don't want to lose something that we already had or could have had. The perception of that is that is a bad thing. Um, so then also there's the kind of psychological approach of we want to feel part of something. So I want to include that as one or several other elements. And that's also a really important point. So we're going to be trying to A/B test this. And so A/B testing is where you have, it might be the same product, but you test different um, copy or images or ways of selling this product or service, and you see what resonates with people, what gets the best kind of conversion rates, etc. Now, I won't be going into the depths of the like looking at tracking this heavily. I am going to go on quite a lot of intuition, which you could see as bad, you could see as good in some ways. But yeah, ultimately, um, I want to A/B test this. So for some people, one message will resonate, and they are a buyer or they are someone who wants to get involved. For other people, another message will resonate, and so that's why you have to create different versions. So um, the first one was students deferring university or college admission. What are you going to do instead? It might sound nice to take a gap year and do nothing, but you'll get bored fast and time is non-refundable. Join remote gap years. So surround yourself with other young professional learners, doers, and creators, and create your own story. And so I like the kind of perspective where you're creating your own story. You're surrounding yourself with people who are like you on the same journey, on the same path, and you also have this kind of support network where you can refer to and speak to people about what's going on and learn from them as well and share with them as well. What I'm doing at the moment is instead of just using my intuition about what I believe could be really useful or could be a good way to explain this to people, I'm actually using Twitter and Facebook, no, not Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn, just around um, understanding what people are speaking about in relation to gap years and remote gap years. So I've done research already around gap years, and it's very interesting around the trends where people are very much actively looking at this as an alternative path because uh, universities are in a bit of a mess at the moment. They don't know what they're doing in relation to, uh, uh, you know, is it all going online? Are they going to have a blended model? What does that look like? Um, and then also paying full admission for tuition that maybe is not as good as in person. I won't go into the question of whether the in person tuition seemingly was good anyway, but that's another conversation. Um, and so there are all these questions around: is this the moment in time that is best for me to go to university or go to college, or is it better for me to take a gap year and spend some time to create my own path and um, build skills that are really relevant? So that's what I'm just kind of looking at here. There was a search on remote gap year. Here we go. Let me just check you can see all of this. Oh, no, you are. That's why. So let me just go to here and desktop transition. Sweet. So you should now have all of that. Good. So first of all, I have secured, I think, remotegapyear.com. Um, and so I want to create a website for this. It will be a Node Unlock initiative, but I'll create a separate website for it as well. Um, I'm looking for people who are speaking about gap years, but the next step is to see what people are speaking about. Specifically, are they searching for remote gap year or virtual gap year, online gap year? Those are keywords that I'll be interested in. So join me in this research part of this live stream, which will be a little bit of research, but then also taking some of what people are speaking about and kind of forming the copy around them to as well. I'm going to take a gap here because I'm not sure what that would mean for my visa. International students have to pay another 13K for this term. which will be entirely remote. How can the school expect us to just calmly sit by and let it happen? There you go. There are lots. So I think it'll be relevant to show you. This is not the only research that I've done. The research that I've done is here, validation. So when we're speaking about, idea validation, this is another process that I went through myself. Um, and so basically, first of all, I was looking for, remote gap year. So what does that look like? I don't know why I have to do that, but anyway. Um, are people speaking about a remote gap year? So there wasn't that many results, but that's good because it kind of seems like a bit of a niche. Um, Although I don't think it'll be hugely niche because lots of people will be looking for online or virtual gap year. Then I looked at the kind of people who were speaking about their offer being rescinded on Google. I was looking at trends around, offer rescinded. So we can see there's a huge tick um, in people searching for offer rescinded, or the searches for forming that. So that shows me that there is interest, um, and there are a number of people, like we've seen, that are affected, and so they could be potential, you know, participants in the program. It won't suit everyone, and I'm not trying to cater to everyone, but it's very important to understand, who you're going for, who you're helping, is a much better way of putting it. So job offer rescinded, rescinded. You can see here this was, uh, over the last 6 months, there's been a high amount of people searching for rescinded. One thing that was very interesting for me, because I'm not, in the space actively all the time, which is the um, searching for summer internships is cyclical, and so you can see real peaks uh, around April, May time for internships, and then it kind of dips, and then each year it's cyclical. So that's just something interesting that I saw as a trend. Graduation as well. So you know when does that happen, or what are people looking for? So again, you can see the peaks of graduation here. Um, so that shows me that first of all there is you know people are looking for internships at a certain time of the year, and then people are graduating at certain times of the year as well. So you have at the moment interns who have been affected by cancelled internships. Then you've got graduates who have just graduated and they're trying to figure out what the hell's next. That's was going with that. And then yeah, how to get an internship was another data point. So people searching for how to get an internship. Um, that was interesting. Um, Gap year. So we're speaking about gap year. So get on with that, Elliot. Here we go. So gap year. Here's an interesting trend. So since 2017, no, 2007, you have a declining trend in searches for gap year. And I think that is telling of the economic um, climate that we have seen since, the financial crisis happened. And people people either don't have the opportunities to take a gap year, they don't have the funds to take the gap year, or they are looking to continue, just going straight into work. And I think that's a really important trend and observation that a gap year is a privilege. Um, Not everyone can take the time out to do a gap year in the traditional sense. But what I'm showing people here in remote gap year is it's not a gap year of going off, exploring the world, which is hugely valuable in some ways, but it's a gap year of creation. It's a gap year of building. It's a gap year of collaborating and connecting. And that's a very different, you know, approach. So this is a gap year of building an income for yourself. And I think that that offers a real alternative to uh, full-time employment. It offers a real alternative to even going into higher education, and it offers you a real alternative um, to the traditional gap year as well. So that's just something I found interesting to observe the trend line there. Remote hiring, obviously, was massively. Uh, it was the topic once COVID happened. I was just intrigued by people whether they were looking for journaling, so I just was looking for that. Digital learning was a massive trend. Around COVID time. We're still in COVID time, but when we first learned about the impact of it, and then this is another part that I observed. So the trend of people looking at entrepreneurship um, over the last 3 months, 4 months, has declined. And so I think that also is very telling of the times where the view of entrepreneurship is it's risky and it doesn't give you the stability and um, comfort that a lot of people are looking for. So, entrepreneurship is the search for that over the last 3 months has been declining. So, anyway, I digress. So, those are the concepts, the things I've been looking at, just showing you the kind of approaches to validating and the like. Let's see if we've got anything here. Hello, people. I don't know who you are, but thank you for coming and joining me. Uh, Let me know where you're from. Hello. Um, I don't know if that'll even work, but we'll see if that does. um, where are you guys from? Or who are you? Do I know you? Hello, yes, sir. Do you mean understand what entrepreneurship means? So, do people understand what entrepreneurship means? That's a great question, Yazzer. Um, excuse me. So, I would have to say no. Some people don't understand what entrepreneurship means. And for me, it's taken me a while to actually understand the what it means for me. So entrepreneurship for me is the endeavor of creating something for yourself in an autonomous way, um, and that is creating value and not just wealth. It's about the endeavor of continuously learning and helping others. And that can be in the kind of social entrepreneurship space, uh, where it's non-profit, or you're just doing it as a volunteer, or you're doing it to help people. And it can be for the for-profit approach as well. And so I think for me, that is a realization that just because we call entrepreneurship or we see entrepreneurship as this kind of endeavor that you go and get funding and you go and pitch to people, etc. It's not always that. Entrepreneurship can be these people like we see on on the streets with their stalls or on beaches when they're walking up and down. Those people are entrepreneurs. The people who are creating, services that help others, they are entrepreneurs. And so I think that everyone is an entrepreneur part. The perception of what an entrepreneur really is not well understood, and I think that that's a really important thing to share with people. Do you think people are more interested in get rich quick rather than the grind and hard work? Ultimately, yes. So if we look at history and we map that back to uh, the concept of money, the perception is that money is a yardstick and a way to measure our place in society. And that is a deeply ingrained bias within all of us. Um, and it, well, it's not always deeply ingrained in all of us, but the perception is that we must have more money, we must show that we are, able to be useful in society, and by being useful in society, we gain money for it. And so, therefore, people are looking to get rich quick, or they're looking for any opportunity to make money. And now, there's the kind of concept around the economic situation as well, isn't there? At the moment, I'm going to switch to chat for a second. Let's see. Here we go. That's better. Um, and so there's the kind of approach where people are ultimately, they don't have the opportunity or they don't have the support, so therefore they're looking to make money in any way. So that's where I see, lots of people when you are going on the internet, you know, lots of people claim to give you these ways to create wealth and be wealthy, or create your first million, etc. And I really think it's important to recognize that that's not how we should be living. It could be relevant for people, but um, yeah, I don't approach my life with the perspective of this needs to be a monetary endeavor. Uh, here we go. You have to be selfless as an entrepreneur. What I mean by that is you work to solve a problem to focus more on money. Your thoughts? Yes, completely agree. Um, and and so what I'm learning and my perception of entrepreneurship has definitely changed since when I was working full time in finance, is that entrepreneurship is fundamentally about helping others. And with that helping others, you are potentially then not rewarded, but you are um, there is an exchange of value within that process. And so, uh, as an entrepreneur, it should be the first principle is how can I help someone, and then within that, understanding how you keep yourself alive, and then what you're looking to do and aspire to do um, within the world that you live in and with your time on this world. So definitely, it should be a selfless approach. Cool. Love those questions, Yazoo. Thank you. And thank you for being here. Beautiful to have you here. I don't know what is going on with this live stream chat, so I'm going to refresh it again. And let me just see if it will uh, help. There we go. And I'm going to refresh this one over here. And we have the browser chat. Let's see if this works. Transition. Okay, we should be back, and it should be working. Okay, great. I'm going to put the chat back there. Let me know if you have any more questions. Really love to hear your thoughts. What do you think as well? I think that's a really important question that we should ask more. What do you think? It's very often not asked. I'll come back and share some more thoughts with you guys soon. So let me just see what's going on the Twitter sphere with this. Cool. Carrie liked my tweet. I hope you are here sharing the experience. Let's just see if there's viewers. No? Cool. I'm really happy this is working, by the way, because I've spent so much time trying to make this work. It's ridiculous, and now it seems to be working quite nicely. So that is beautiful. Um, right, let's go and search for that again. It's a bit slow. Gap here. So perhaps I'll go with latest. There we go. So what have we got? I quite like this perspective. Imagine having a gap year. Just like 1 year, you go under the radar, somewhere remote and secluded, and get your life together. I don't necessarily think you need to go down under for that, but yeah. One big lesson I took away from the whole remote learning experience is that 9-year-olds aren't great candidates for taking a gap year. True. 73% of students, yeah, 73% of students said they would not take a gap year and continue with their studies as expected, even if it means the classes will be remote. Well, it's interesting. It still leaves a lot of students who are going to take a gap year or consider it. A new study examined the pandemic's effects on higher learning. 30% of university students will take a gap year and choose other alternatives such as online courses or travel. 20% of college applicants are now considering a gap year to education. They'd rather put the money towards other use than remote/online working. Well, that's an interesting perspective, right? So I think what we've done is there's a huge injustice in what we're trying to compare remote working and remote learning wise through COVID-19 versus what a really intentionally designed experience looks like both in the workplace and in academia. And so that's something I'm really passionate about is showing people that this whole experience that we've just had should not be our kind of uh, measure for whether or not we would like to do it going forward. That's inherently biased. Once humans have a bad experience or don't enjoy something, we tend to shy away from it, and that's another reason why we should be leaning into these uncomfortable situations and figuring out, can we do it again? Can we try it again? What do we learn from that? So that's a perspective. Don't take a gap year. Don't fall behind. Take online classes at 4Cs. Yeah, okay. Don't take a gap year and don't fall behind. Right. So there was something really interesting about that message because anything going on in the chat? Let's just have a little look. I'm getting sidetracked here. Da, 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 da. Nope, cool. So yeah, I calculated that if you are if you're graduating and you're around 21 and you're taking a year out of your studies or a year out to have a gap year, you're spending something like 4.76% of your the whole time that you have had on this earth to take a year out. When you put it into that perspective, 4.7%, it's very small. And I think there's this rhetoric of you're going to fall behind, or a remote gap year is detrimental for your progress, and I completely disagree with that. You don't get the luxury of a gap year option. There are also full questions about Zoom college, but they're also worrying about working to pay tuition. Yep, remote learning and a mess of the constraints. Cancelled my housing application and went forward with taking a gap year. Super sad, but my college said we wouldn't live with our roommates and all classes would be remote due to COVID. I'll be back next year, but I'm sad. Hmm. Yeah, here's another one. Many freshmen are choosing to stay close to home or take a gap year because I don't think remote learning is worth the cost. As a result, many colleges are aggressively courting students, which why we'll see a rise in college acceptance rates. Yep. I'll take a look at this, but not right now. Amazing aspect of a gap year is being able to explore and try new things. I hope students taking a year off feel they have opportunities. Many employers should consider offering remote internship experiences instead of cancelling them. The difference is we do not have the language of gap year. We are calling it remote learning, and some people call it University of Phoenix. Perhaps COVID and the remote work. In the meantime, this philosophy has allowed me to fund my gap year sabbatical. This is interesting. So, I wonder if not only students are taking a gap year and calling it that, but then also, um, I wonder if professionals are seeing this as a time to take a gap year. And that reminds me of what Jacob, you said, actually, that you're taking 6 months out, uh, and this kind of program could be very useful. So, that's an interesting one. The sentiment among some would-be freshmen is that remote learning is not worth the cost. I don't think they should take a gap year just to sit at home. There are actually a lot of ways to enrich your learning right now, from Oxford-style tutorials to web service and internship opportunities. Correct. Add that tweet for these. Students taking a gap year will have nowhere to go and nothing to do unless maybe hiking in remote locations. And notice increased importance of first surviving high school students, high school graduates, to take a gap year rather than their college education online. This strikes me as spectacularly bad advice. Well, why do we have to go anywhere? That's my question. When you have the World Wide Web and the ability to create something for yourself and a path for yourself, why do you need to go anywhere to be immersed in other people's cultures and experiences? Sure, there is huge benefit to being in different places and immersing yourself in a physical environment that's different. But then also you can immerse yourself in an endeavor that is, fundamentally creating skills for yourself and a path for yourself. Uh, Large percentage of the student population take a gap year. I wonder what everyone does with their time. Yeah, see, there's the question of what do you do with your time. So here's something that I'm going to include. let me just check the chat. So it's like the question of what are you going to do with your time is what I'm going to play with in the copy. I really wish this would not do that. Strange. So in the copy, in here, oh no, not in there. In the notes, I'm going to play around with, something around, um, what you're going to do with your time, which I've already done here, but I think it's more important to kind of highlight, you know, time is non-refundable, or time is important. The importance of time. Time is non-refundable. Taking a gap year to travel is out of the question. Going to university and spending, always paying full tuition for remote education this year. And I think actually I'm going off tangent, so I'm going to keep it to one message, which is important to recognize. So traveling, taking time out and traveling during a gap year is out of the question this year. What's your alternative? Like this. So we'll take that, and I'm going to use something around money as well. So the human psychology around comparison of value. So it's like you could either have this or you could have that, or you could spend this or you could spend that, something around those lines. So the first one is here, second one, time is non-refundable. Taking time out and traveling during your gap year is out of the question this year. What's your alternative? Join remote gap year, surround yourself with other young professional learners, doers, and creators, and create your own journey. Check the chat. Where's the chat? Okay, cool. Also value. For students who receive scholarship money, it will be important to find out if the gap year is permissible without sacrificing the scholarship. It may create a larger freshman class, but that doesn't seem as unfortunate as having a remote freshman year. The same for infections. Biggest value in college is meeting and hanging out with your peers. So I'm going to take a couple of these things and I'm going to open this. Um, I'm going to add this. So there's some example. Embed that there. And I'm also going to take this. All right. Okay. One thing I'm seeing here is I am kind of looking at the wording that people are using. So, freshman year, freshman class. That's not something that we use in the UK. So um, depends where I'm kind of aiming, or using the right words in the right location is important for copy. So when I'm A/B testing this, I think I will obviously use wording that is appropriate for the UK. I'll use wording for the US, and then the rest. Seeing as they refused a partial tuition refund for the semester, I find it unlikely that there will be a major cut in tuition. Yep, or incoming freshmen do when remote learning doesn't seem worth the cost. Possibilities include a in-state public school or community college or gap year. If college stays online in the fall, withdraw. They find a school where you can go in person or take a gap year and learn a skill. It's very interesting that parents are mostly saying better to take a gap year. Remote volunteering opportunities. Here's me speaking about remote gap year and creating it. Thinking about taking a gap year while living in Boston because I signed a lease. Australia is paying parents for child around. remote learning and remote earning. I like that. I honestly don't know what's going on with this rabble here. I'm going to take this, put it in here. So I was sketching out the kind of curriculum and stuff like that. So what I intend to do is I think it's going to be really important to go through lots of these different uh, people's thoughts and see if they would be interested in joining Remote Gap Year. Because these are people who are considering this, right? An incoming current public college student, but in the fall, take a gap year. Yes, gap semester. Ah, interesting. Difference between gap year and gap semester. Yes, gap year, no, or drop out. So there's some words in there, right? Taking a gap year or taking a gap semester. Remote gap year or remote gap semester. And this is the other thing. So remote gap year, it's called remote gap year, but ultimately the 8-week program is about creating a structure that can be applied regardless of time frame. So that's a really important message to share with people. Um, Remote gap year uh, gives you the tools, methods, and structures. I guess actually gives you a framework which can be used, be applied and used in any time frame you choose. One other thing about this is I'm creating two things. One is the Remote Gap Year program, which is the 8-week program. And then there's the Remote Gap Year framework or playbook. And that is where people want to become self-sufficient and autonomous. It goes through this kind of playbook of, here's how to do certain things or check things off or build structure in your life. And that will then, be a smaller product, but a subset of what you will get at the program um, as well. So That's cool. Hmm, that's an interesting perspective. Zoom University is one, which is, let me just check this and see what's going on. Um, Zoom University is a hashtag or community, so I think I will pick that and use it. Where is communities? Let me see if I collected hashtags and communities. Oh, I'm going to collect it here. This one. Think about what's best for you financially and experience-wise. That's also important. This is a valuable self-directed learning. It's an important message too. Let's check over here. Okay, don't know what that's all about. Yeah, if I can. Don't know what's going on there. So, Okay, so I think that's enough of that. So, so I think what I'm going to go and do is get on with this marketing copy. Um, And then the next part will be the designing the visual assets, and I think that'll be a bit more interesting for people to see. But if you have any questions, then just let me know on Twitter or on LinkedIn. Be more than happy to share my thoughts or hear yours as well. Thanks for tuning in to this first experimental live stream. I think that I'll be doing more of these more often to share different things, different concepts, and what I'm working on, and to share the journey. Because obviously, I'm sharing building in public, and this is part of the building process. So, hope that was enjoyable and something that is of interest. Um, and yeah, I'll see you very soon. Cheers. Where's goodbye? Here we go. Goodbye.